Kristen.
Hi, Kevin.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am good. Welcome to the Marriage in the Buff podcast.
Back home.
Yeah, we're back home. We were in Adirondacks the last couple times. We are home in the podcast studio, aka basement,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not actually on the studio setup. We're on the wireless and shooting from over here today. It's a little more comfortable. It's a little hot here in Buffalo.
Hot and humid.
Very humid. It just like I feel like I'm in the South, so it's kind of crazy. But we will survive. It can't
Yep.
stay this way longer. I'm
We
waiting to
get
see
four
some
seasons here,
snowflakes.
so I love it.
Sometimes in a day. Those are coming
It's
soon.
okay. It's okay.
Those days where it can be warm and cold and rain and snow and whatever else it wants to do in a day.
So, what are we talking about today?
Well, one of your favorite subjects, guilt.
Why is that my favorite subject?
I think because it's something you've dealt with and you still deal with.
I think it's because I want people to be happy. And I don't want to be the cause of their pain.
I think that's part of it. But I think that is due to family of origin. It's also due to influence of the Catholic Church on you in the formative years and family of origin. And I think, unfortunately, generations before us, especially the ones right before us, really like to use guilt as a tool to influence the way their children and others would behave.
Well, I think it's subconscious. I don't think they're trying to use it as a tool because that would be a little evil if they're using a tool to control someone.
I, I, I don't think it's subconscious, but I don't think they see it as that way. I don't think they see it as a tool. I think if we look at something like the church, and we'll talk about just all kinds of churches, but if we look at an environment where the church says, "Oh well, oh you're really bad. You got to pay this penance. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to say this. You got to
Work
do
for
that.
something.
You got to work for your worth or to be redeemed from something," then that's a bad value to start with. And when we do that, we devalue the work of the cross in Jesus Christ.
Right.
And I think that's the really, really scary part, because Jesus died for our sins. And if we believe in him, we are forgiven, no matter what that sin is. Now, does that mean that like it's immediately forgotten or anything? No, absolutely not. But I think when we do that mentality, that works-based mentality where it's like, oh, if you do this for me, then I'll do this for you. And when we bring it into our home, it can be with husband and wife, where it's more like, wow, well, and what we see the most in that, and what we've read the most in that and heard the most in that would be like sex, where a lot of times women will say, oh, well, honey, if you just do this, then you can have this, or whatever it is. And they use it and weaponize that, something that God meant to be beautiful, and they use it to weaponize it for their own benefits. And it can go the other way. A man can do the exact same thing, where he manipulates the situations like, oh, well, you know what, I bought you this, I did this, I'm going to take you here, we did this, now give me what I want, whether it be sex or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be. That's just one of the ways that I know we've seen and heard that it really is used. So in your marriage, it can be very, very dangerous, but I think beyond that is where the real danger in the household lies with your children. And I think a lot of times we are very tempted to use some kind of reward-based parenting method. And when we do that when they're little, it's a good start because we're teaching them, okay, well, if you do this, what we say is quote-unquote right, then there will be a reward for what you do.
So how does the guilt play into that?
The guilt plays into it where when you don't do what the parent considers right, then you are, oh, you don't get what you want. You don't get this. You are a bad person. You didn't do this. And I think the big problem in it is, it's what the parent considers right. It's not necessarily right or wrong. It's not necessarily a rule. It's not necessarily a explained expectation even. it goes on the feelings of one. So when we do things like that, whether it be with our kids or our spouse or whatever it is, we say, oh, well, you didn't do what I needed you to do. You're not spending time with me. You're not doing what you always did. And a lot of times I think the danger in that with our kids, and even in our marriage, but really with our kids, when we do that, the big, huge danger is they're ever changing. I know you and I have been through this talk here lately because we've got one moving out of state. We've got another one getting ready to move out of our house. And I think you said it really well that when it happens as they grow, which is the expectation, I mean, the end goal is for them to move out, start a family, have a life of their own, and be productive and happy and healthy. But along the way, for us as parents, we have to grieve that loss because it's not our elementary school child
Right.
who needed everything from us.
Right.
It's not.
You're actually missing
yes.
a whole person that you're not going to get back
Yes.
because each stage they develop and they change
Yes.
into someone different.
Yes.
And if you stay stuck on wanting them to be age 11, well, you'll miss who they are now,
yes.
but you have to grieve that loss because
Yes.
that's a person you're actually losing from your life.
And I don't think you're losing. You may be losing.
You're losing 11-year-old
You
Tabby.
are. You are.
Like, you will never have
No.
11-year-old Tabby again.
But you'll have 12. Or
Right.
13.
Well,
or
sure.
14.
But I'm just saying we're
But
always grieving a loss.
We are. And how we do that really influences that relationship in a huge way. And I don't think we realize it a lot of the time. I think we get set in our ways and we get to a point where it's like, all right, this is normal. This is what I'm used to. You know, them coming home every night, or maybe they're out. Maybe they call you every day. And then maybe life changes. Maybe they get married. Maybe they have kids and they don't come over as often. They don't call you as often. They don't do these things. And we're selfish people. And we want 11-year-old, 12-year-old, 5-year-old. We want these ages back and these people that we had. Or maybe it's 18, 19, 20-year-old, or 25-year-old, or 30-year-old. Who knows what it is? But us being selfish people, if we refuse to grieve and grow, then we're never going to be happy for them either. And I think that's where the problem really, really is. If we can't grow with them, if we can't be excited about the season they're in.
And accepting that our relationship might change.
Yes, the season to come. Because God tells us the best is yet to come. If we can't be excited about that, if we're stuck wherever it is and we refuse to grieve that, we'll never be happy for anything in their life. We'll never be happy when they get the job, when they move, when they buy the car, buy the house, have the child, whatever it is.
Right.
Because we'll always harbor some kind of disappointment or resentment because they're not our little one.
Right. I mean, that's acceptance of change.
Yeah. And
so how are you
change is
tying
inevitable.
that into guilt? Getting
because
back
I
to
think
the
a lot
subject.
of times when we do that, when we don't acknowledge those things, we try to hold them to whatever standard there was before. So if our child's single, and if our child, maybe they're in school or whatever it is, and they don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and they don't have a relationship, maybe they don't have a lot of friends or whatever, they're going to lean into us as their primary relationship. But as they grow and they get more friends or boyfriends or girlfriends, or they get engaged, they get married and stuff like that, if we've never moved past that part and we have an expectation of them, they got a new job or this, well, they're going to tell me first. Well, when they get married, they're not going to tell you first. And I think that's where a lot of things kind of fall apart.
So you're saying that in that situation, that's an example
Hmm.
of where we see guilt pop up.
Yeah, because
But it doesn't necessarily mean because of that situation, a person will use guilt, because either a person is prone to using guilt because of, like you said, their family of origin,
Mhm.
but it's not situation based.
No, I think it is that family of origin and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I think that in generations past, especially ones close to us, guilt was a tool. I think here in the North, in New York especially, with the Catholic Church, with Catholic schools, with things like that, it was an easy way to control people. It's like, well, we need more money. Well, you're bad people. You guys need to do this. Or in your family, it's like, oh, you just don't care. You don't love me. Oh, what's God going to think about what you're doing? What's your father going to think about what you're doing? Really turning whatever the situation is and kind of twisting it into this intellectual thing that it's really not, into this mental thing of, well, what's whoever going to think of what you did? And when we do that and we condition that response, it makes it easier to manipulate that later in life, because then it comes to, well, that's not what I would have done. Did you never call me? You never want to go anywhere with me. Does your spouse always have to be everywhere we go? Or do they always have to come over when you come over? Or do we all have to go shopping or to a movie or to whatever it is?
But the problem is
It's when we
not with the person who's feeling guilty.
No, and that's
It's with the
thing.
person who is
That's where
administering
it
that.
becomes manipulation.
And it is
And I
right.
think a lot of times, one, there's very few people would ever admit that that's what happens. And I think on both sides. I think, like in your case, you want everybody to be happy. I have watched that for 25 years. And it's one thing when you want me and you to be happy, and then we've got one child and two childs and three and then four. It's impossible for six people to be happy at the same time.
So
when they were little, maybe a little bit. But as people grow and mature, six people can't be happy
I
with
acknowledge
exactly
that.
everything at the same time.
And I think that it's healthy to acknowledge that.
Yes.
But I don't think that you can say, because you like it when people are comfortable and satisfied, that's particularly a bad thing. That's not going to be the
not at all.
reason that you feel guilty.
Not at all.
So I think that it more comes down to letting go of your responsibility to make them happy.
That's huge.
You can't make another person happy. However, you can control how you treat people.
Yes.
So, to the degree of, as much as I can, I will treat people in a way that will not anger them, that will not cause strife, that will not cause fights, like stir up anger. And Proverbs says, do not stir up anger, do not stir up fights. So I think it's just, if that happens, I can only do what's in my control and not go outside that. And that's what I've had to learn. And that helps guilt, right? Yes. Like knowing what you are in control of.
So we've been married 25 years. Our oldest will be 24 this year. Mm-hmm. How long did it take you to learn that?
22 years, probably.
And
because I think for the last couple of years, I've been a lot better about that. But
you have
think the girls have had to start leaving the house.
You have been a lot better about that. But you still can easily fall into that.
I just think that keeping a perspective.
Mhm.
But I don't also think that people who, like you said, fall into that or are prone to that or feel that way necessarily, I wouldn't view everybody else as being those manipulators that you were
No.
talking about.
No, and
Like, I think there are two different sides to the coin. There's
you
people.
are, and I will say that even with our children, people in those situations in the family of origin or whatever it is, whether it be the older generation or the younger generation, being selfish people learn to use that and manipulate the situation.
Oh, sure. Anyone could. Anyone could.
So,
to a degree.
Absolutely. So I think that's the really slippery slope of it. If we if we're not cognizant of it, if we don't stop it, if we don't acknowledge it, it'll just keep repeating itself.
So I think because we don't really have control over the people that put guilt upon you, like we don't have control over those people, right? So I think what we should focus our discussion on is how we let go of guilt.
Yeah.
That second part.
And I think that was huge because you said two big things in the last couple minutes there. One, we can't make anybody else happy. We may be able to contribute to someone's happiness, but true happiness comes from inside of our heart. And the only true happiness comes from a relationship with Jesus, period. So we can't do that for anyone, whether it be our child, our spouse, our parent, whatever. We can't do that
for another person.
So when we take that burden off of ourselves, when we say, you know what, I can't, because a lot of times we'll spend a whole lifetime trying, and some people never realize that, and what a waste of your life, and what a unnecessary agony to put yourself through. And I know with us and everything like that, there was a time when I truly thought that you could make me happy, that I put all that pressure on you. So I think that's one thing. It's one thing to put that pressure upon ourselves, but it's a total another one when someone else is putting that pressure upon you. Kids do that a lot. I think when they get older, when they get into those teen years and beyond,
or
they
even before
expect
that,
you to give them everything all their friends
but
have,
it's because
everything they see.
That's what we do when they're little, because we have to. So it's almost like us as adults need to start being cognizant of not doing that all the time. Like not saying cutting cold turkey. Okay, now we're done, because obviously they're not used to that either. But as they're young, doing smaller and smaller pieces that we relinquish to them.
Yeah. And it's hard because we want what's best for our children. But at the same time, I think most Americans want just to make it easy for their children too. They want the best for them, but they want to do as much as possible for them so that's easy for them. And it's kind of hard to have the best and easy, because if you don't work for it, if you don't learn the lessons along the way, you really don't value what the best is.
I think that I struggle most with, and I don't want to say it this way, disappointing people, but having people think poorly of my choices, which might be disappointing. And I don't necessarily mean the people outside my inner circle. I mean the people that are close to me. So I think guilt comes usually for people in a relationship that they're close with. Like we're not going to feel, like we might feel a little bit guilty that, oh, there was some stranger that wanted the last blueberry bagel and I ordered it. I feel pretty bad that they didn't get it. But it's not really like a guilt that is going to feel bad for you throughout the day. It might be an extreme.
Yeah.
That might be an extreme.
I think that's true. You may feel a feeling at the moment.
Like, oh, I'm sorry
but
about
it's not
that.
going to come back in an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 12 hours. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not going to be a continual thing. Whereas if it's someone you are in a closer relationship with, I think for you, I think for women, let me say this.
Okay, well,
I believe for women, you internalize things
maybe
more.
because women are
And
more
you
emotional
think you just
creatures.
keep it going. Yeah, you just keep it going. Whereas a guy, now I will say this, there are guys too that do that. But I think more for a guy, the trigger is going to be seeing that person again, having a conversation with them. It could make picking up the phone and calling someone, going home, going somewhere or something. It can make that anticipation of that moment. That will be what triggers it. Whereas I
Okay,
think
well,
you,
wait. So let me stop you. I have a question about that. Couldn't you say that that's because men want to avoid a difficult situation rather than feeling guilty?
yeah, and I think those two can go hand in hand with men. I think men in general will compartmentalize something.
Uh-huh.
So like, oh, this happened here, we'll put it here. This happened here, we'll put it here. But if this happened here and it was with you and I have to go see you, kind of pull that out back on the shelf. Maybe not to use, but my thought will go there before I engage with you
then maybe
again.
that is the reason, because
So I think that builds guilt in people, or can build guilt in people.
I feel that for the most part, if there's a rift in a relationship and I am feeling some kind of way, whether it's guilt or sadness or not liking that person is feeling bad or whatever the issue is, it almost overshadows everything in your day. So you cannot continue on until you repair that.
Yes.
And you may call that guilt because you just see it as that and might name it that, but it is also a reason for why you need to repair that. And you as a man being able to compartmentalize things might not understand that and might just say, oh, stop it. Don't let that make you feel guilty, or don't let that make you feel upset, when you can't, when as a woman or the way I am built, I can't, because all of a sudden everything is affected by that. It's like, imagine rain just coming down and you can't still play basketball in the rain because the rain is coming down. And you have your umbrella and the rain is gone and you're still playing basketball. But I am drenched and I can't stop because I need to take care of that rain cloud.
So, two things. Friends, if you have never read Love and Respect by Emerson Eggerichs, I do encourage you to. I think it is one of the best books that defines the differences between men and women, which is exactly what Kristen and I just went through here.
But
in generalizations,
a warning, it's written from a man's perspective.
And it can be a little
gruff. There are other books that are gentler that explain it.
But I believe it paints the best picture of just differences. Now, what it says beyond the differences, or how to, I'm not telling you that all of it's right or all of it's
right,
because
it does it says rose-colored glasses and blue-colored glasses.
It's got the pink and the blue.
It does tell a bit about differences,
and it gives some great examples of just things that, if someone said it to you, you'd be like, why would that be so different? But it really, really is just like what we're talking about here. And I think, that's why women are more affected by guilt, because it can be more immobilizing than it can to men. Men, we compartmentalize things, and people can get mad at me and say something, and like, honestly, it can affect me, and I can feel it and whatever, but
it's easier for you to let go.
There are very few people that could ruin my day by making me feel bad for something I did. And I don't mean that I don't mean that in a cocky way. I don't mean that in a, you've got to be really, really, really close to me for it not to go on a shelf and me to agonize over it. Now, I'm not saying it won't come back and things like that, but I'm saying that's different for men. Whereas for you, I know when it's us, that's totally different. It's me, the girls, your mom, your dad. You know what I mean? I get that part.
Like everything has to be
But I also
okay to move forward.
I also see that with you, and I remember a time with that with you, like at your work, like when you wanted everyone to be happy, and you being the boss, you can't make everyone happy.
Okay, so that's
but you would take you being an empath as well.
Right.
You would take their feelings and feel them, and then if you couldn't help that situation, it would impart some kind of guilt on you, and just like that would affect everything else too. It just was like a big, huge ripple.
I have something to say about that example specifically because I feel like I do know how I solved that. So I think that is really stopping and assessing your life and your priorities because you need to make sure your priorities are in order, whereas you have God number one, your husband number two, and you know, maybe everything has to be right with your husband before you can move forward in the day, and that's logical because he's number two. Your kids are number three, or your extended family as you go out. Then you have your circle of friends or your community group, and work is somewhere down there. But you, at some point, need to logically say, I do need, as much as I want to be sympathetic to other people, I do need to let things go and not let it affect me in my day. So I think you actually need to stop and put your priorities in order, because there is a point where there's a circle of people that you're going to have to not be able to keep happy.
And I think that's really good because, you know, like I said, the second point that I thought you made really, really well is how you deal with those feelings. How does guilt affect me? And
which will be different for everyone.
Different. And, you know, we talked about this a little bit earlier, and I said, you know, guilt is not from God, it's from Satan. And I've thought through that since then.
I was thinking about that
because God
today.
will use guilt to you a little bit. The way God will use guilt to you is to point out your error, what you have done wrong.
Oh,
to point
do
him
you think that that's guilt, or is that conviction from the Holy Spirit?
I think but I think that is guilt.
So you're using those as synonyms.
Yes, I think that's what it is. And with God doing that, in the way that the God uses that and the Spirit uses that, that's to point out that error, which is a clear error that is against God's word, against God's will, which is real and acceptable. And God tells us what to do is to bring it to him, and he will forgive it. Once God forgives that guilt is lifted, or that guilt should be lifted.
That's a great point, because I think that's a good line to bring. So when you do feel guilt about a situation or about a person or about something that happened, like, sit with God and apologize or repent for maybe your guilt.
Yes.
You might have an error in your ways, and I feel like there have been times where I might have felt guilty over something I said. So repenting of that will clear, like you said, clear yourself. But then,
well, and this is with God. Okay, so let me back this up. So this is with God, and this is how God uses guilt, I believe. And then in 1 John 1:9 it says, if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us of our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. So cleansing us from that unrighteousness, he also cleanses that guilt from us. Now, this is twofold. These are things that are grievances to God. These are things that
Sure.
are sin. They're against God's word. We can do things to one another that are not sin. They do not grieve God's word or whatever. We can offend a person, and it's not sinful. We can do something someone doesn't like or agree with,
Yeah.
which may cause them to be unhappy, but it does not make it sinful.
Right. For example,
We
I say someone texts me
Mhm.
and I read it and they see I read it and I don't text them back.
Oh, this is an everyday occurrence.
This happens all
Friends,
the
if
time.
you text Kristen, this is
I
an everyday
am
occurrence.
a terrible person with my phone. I'm just terrible. So there are times when, like, I'll be going to bed or something and I'll see a text and it'll come up read or something, but I'm going to sleep. And I don't have the time, the energy, or the mind power to write down what I have to say. And I'll think, I'll do that. And sometimes I do later or a day or two. But then, for example, someone today said, you didn't reply, so clearly you're upset with me. I'm so sorry. Well, no. So I made that person feel guilty because they thought I was upset from what they had said to me inadvertently. But my point is, what I did wasn't sinful, right?
No.
But it's still a grievance between two people
Yep.
because of my poor. Because I shouldn't be in a cell phone age. Like, bottom line is, I should still be in the 80s or something.
80s.
Yeah, I don't want to go back to, like,
Is that the 1880s? Pony
no, I
Express?
don't want to go back to
Oh,
the
okay.
1880s. The 1980s are fine.
1980s,
They're
yes.
perfectly fine.
Ooh.
I'll have
I mean, there's a
VCR
few.
tapes
Oh,
and
that's awful. Awful.
and
Awful.
some. Anyway,
Awful. So
that's
Here-
an example,
here-
right?
that
of,
is an
of a
example.
non-sinful.
that is an example.
Okay.
Now, in these cases, and I think in all cases, like if we do something to another person that grieves them, that causes this feeling with them, it's number one, it's just like with God. If there was an error upon our part, that whatever, admit it. Like, say I'm sorry. Like, own it. Say, oh, I'm sorry, whatever. And it's their choice to forgive you or not. It's their choice or whatever. But if you have gone to them and asked for forgiveness, if there's any kind of restitution or whatever, and you have done that, you have lifted the guilt off yourself. You
But now,
don't need to antagonize
that is only in those situations where it's sinful. You're not talking.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about, so if you let's use this example. If you're newly married, let's say this. If you're newly married and you have always gone on vacation with your parents, your mother, father, whatever it may be. This year you decide you're just going with your new husband, wife, whatever it is.
Right.
You guys are going to do something different. You're not going to
Sure.
partake in that. That can hurt your parents' feelings,
Sure.
obviously.
It's not sinful.
As us as parents who have older kids now, we get our feelings hurt a lot.
All the time.
Okay.
Daily.
And sometimes we may not come across the nicest way when it happens. But in the end, because you chose to do something different and you're at a different stage, especially if you're married, you're at a different stage and you chose to do something different, I may be hurt, but I have no right to be offended. I
Sure.
have no right to hold that
But that's
over
my point. You
or
shouldn't have
anything
to
else.
always apologize for every choice you make.
No, but you can
that's-
in a situation like that where there's a shift or a change
Mm-hmm.
in the normal that it's been. You can say, you know what, Mom, Dad, I'm sorry. Okay, things are different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether it be, okay, I'm married, so now this is my first priority, as you guys are to
But
each
you're not
other.
repenting.
You're not repenting.
You're not.
You're just saying, you know what? I'm sorry, but
You're
this
not
is
asking
how
for
it-
forgiveness.
No.
Okay.
This is how it is. This is the way God ordained it, or whatever. I tell you, a hard one for us, with our oldest. She's been away at college for 6 years, college and law school,
Right.
and
She
stuff
just
like
hasn't been
that.
like
She
in a
has a
4-year
boyfriend
college
who
for 6 years.
is, they have been together for a long time, and then holidays and stuff like that, birthdays, things like that. She doesn't always come home. And I know with you, especially the first, it hurt.
Yes.
It hurt.
But I think that actually hurts you more than me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think that you always had this expectation that on holidays we would be together as a family.
Yeah.
And I've sort of been okay with, if they are happy, I'm okay. Like, if they are at someone else's house, or like even like when they wanted to do stuff on the 4th of July and they were younger, and you were like, no, we're all going to do this. And I was like, well, let them go because it will make them happy. Like, I don't want someone to feel guilty to hang out with us. Like, that's more of a thing. But then in the reverse is like, how much do we do and not be there for the kid? Like, having kids is hard.
Yeah.
Like, just like navigating those waters is very hard.
It is. And I think,
And we're always going to mess up.
yeah. And I mean, I think the two most humbling things you do in life is get married and have kids.
Right. Because nobody else is so intertwined in your everyday.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe for a while your parents were, but then that's the same dynamic. It's just in reverse. So
Yeah.
same.
I mean, those are the things that shape us and form us.
Because you can have
Those are
close
things-
friends, but it's
Yeah.
still not as.
Yeah. It's
up to
hard.
there.
It
is
really,
hard.
really is. But I think that's something we've learned and we're better at. That doesn't mean it doesn't hurt when they do whatever the new thing is, whatever the different thing is.
Although
And I
it's
think a
good
lot-
to set the expectations. Like you had said before, you go to your parents and you say, I'm sorry, but this is how it is
Yeah.
going to be. So I think that you overcome that
By communicating.
by the communication.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I think we could probably go on with this conversation. We're not going to for another hour, but
Right.
because it's interesting to unpack. And I think guilt is just something that is going to happen. You might name like feeling bad guilt. You
Yeah.
can name lots of things
yeah.
guilt. But like,
And I think
we
that-
could go on with this conversation, but I think that if you haven't already, you really need to sit down with your spouse and unpack that a little bit. Like, who do you feel guilty about? What are we doing as a couple that's making us feel this
Yeah.
way? Is there someone in our life that we're avoiding because we feel that way? Like,
Yeah.
I think these are really good conversations that you may never had. I
Yeah.
think we did because we've like you say, I have struggled with it in the past.
You have, but I'd say we talk to couples all the time, and it's not just you. We hear it a lot.
Oh yeah.
from-
You see, it's
mostly
not just me now.
from the females.
It's true.
Sometimes from the guys too, but it's mostly from the females, and we do hear it a lot. And it is a huge thing because it is a weight we choose to put upon ourselves. On the flip side of it, if you are the parent, if you are the spouse, if you are the friend, whatever it may be, anytime we try to transfer our feelings of anger, hurt, whatever it is, onto another person,
Grief.
whatever we're trying to transfer
Right.
onto them, we're trying to manipulate them.
Yeah.
We're trying to manipulate them
Yeah.
to get them to either do what we want them to do, say what we want them to say, or feel our hurt or pain or anger or whatever it is. And when we do that,
Yeah.
that is not fair to that other person. I don't care what
And
it
I
is.
think if you're
it's
in
not
that
fair.
type of situation right now, the best, now you might have a different solution, but I do think that the best solution is to actually take a break from the relationship for a little bit I mean, obviously not spouse.
Right.
That you might need counseling for if your spouse is making you feel guilty
Right.
about something. But as far as a friend or something like that, take a
Family member.
bit of a break where you're saying, okay, we need to just not talk for a month. I'm working on myself, something like that,
And I think that
reset
that's
that relationship.
Huge, though, what you just said, like set the ground rules.
Oh,
Say,
sure. Don't
listen,
just not talk to them.
Yeah, make sure they understand. Like, listen, what I'm feeling, I need to work on. I need to understand why I feel the way I do.
Right,
I
because
need
you
to
can't control what they're going to
like,
do.
You know what? Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but I need more time to process this.
But likely boundaries will need to be set in that new relationship.
Yeah. So make sure you set that ground rule. The other side of that, like, honestly, one of the hardest things we ever do is communicate. It's also something we do all the time. Just because we do it all the time does not mean we do it well. And in most cases, even in husband, wife, with parents, children, we're not good at it. We're really, really not good at it. We do a good job. I'm not going to say a good job. We are able to transfer our feelings upon another person, which is not a good thing to do. We are really inept when it comes to explaining our feelings to the other person in a way that is healthy, in a way that will create healing or moving on or understanding or grieving the loss of where that person was.
So getting back to where you started about communication, would you say that if someone is making you feel guilty about something, you acknowledge that and tell that person?
Yeah. I mean, I think so. I think, I think it's kind of like that backhanded thing. That I'm sorry that I made you feel this way. So you acknowledge the feeling.
No,
but
if you're the person who feels guilty.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think you say, you know what, I am sorry I made you feel this way.
Oh, gotcha.
I did not mean to. That was not my intention. I don't, and maybe stop right there. Depending upon the relationship and what's going on, maybe you dive deeper into, I really don't understand what I did or what I said or how what I did made you feel this way.
And likely you're going to unpack something else.
Explain it to me. And especially if it's your spouse. I mean, that's number one, if it's your spouse.
If it's your spouse,
and when you go
have
through
to do that. Yeah.
I think a huge part of that is when your spouse asks you that, don't be offended. Be willing to talk and communicate, well, this is what I'm feeling. Which, if it is your wife saying this to a husband, one of the hardest things for any guy to do is explain why he feels anything about anything or any sort of way. So be patient. Now, when whichever person says this is it, I think another huge part is you need to be able to say that back to them to make sure you understood what they said for two reasons. One, so the other person feels heard, so that they know you heard what they said and understood it. Two, so that you really do understand what they're feeling. Because I think a lot of times in this, it's going to be a pretty gray area and maybe a lot of stuff comes into it.
Right, I think because there's underlying things
to
there.
be able to grab that piece out of it that, like, okay, this is it. And maybe they don't even realize that, but to be able to, when you get it to that piece and you understand, well, oh, this is why Kristen felt this way. And I can vocalize that and say it to you, and you hear it, and you feel that I understand.
But not everybody is that mature.
No, they're not. And I think that's the process.
So you might not get that.
You might not. And I think, like, with your spouse, I hope you do.
Well, with your spouse, I think
it might not be today.
Right.
This might be a work in progress that takes a long, long time to get to. But you need to start working on that communication.
That's what I was going to say. That's exactly what I was going to say. It
has to be the open communication.
You first have to know each other's communication first, because you sometimes think that I'm running or something, but I need time to process things, and you already know that about me. But early on, I mean, there is no way you imagine that. Like, you need to speak to each other about what your communication style is and how it's best. And I know that you want me to repeat what you say in my own words so you feel heard.
Mm-hmm.
And then that just means you need to talk slower.
I have too much to say to talk slow.
But no, this was a great scratch on the surface of guilt.
Yeah, and I think,
don't think we got deep, but I think it's good to start a conversation with.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, anytime we try to transfer our feelings, we try to transfer our anger, our hurt, or whatever onto another person
and not accept what they feel,
just like put it on them.
Yep,
we're wrong.
Right,
we're wrong. And anytime we're in a situation where we see that, we feel that, we get that, we need to realize we're not responsible for that.
Right.
I can't fix that.
Yep. No, that's good.
That's not me. I can't fix that. And I think when we realize that number one, you can't fix my feelings. You can't fix the hole in my heart that only Jesus can fix. You can't do that.
And
and when you realize that part, it's going to free you.
Right.
And you're going to be in a better position to speak to me and speak into me and talk to me, because you're not held down by that, you know? And I think that's a huge part. Same side, like, until I can figure that part out, until I truly understand that part and I quit looking to you for my happiness or to solve every problem or whatever it is, I'm never going to be happy either. And I have to realize that upon myself. I mean, so much of it is, I mean, we say this all the time, you've got to fix the vertical.
Yeah.
And that's on both sides. I can't fix her vertical, she can't fix my vertical. We have to fix that on our own. And you know what, if we're in a situation where we've got it right and we don't believe they do or whatever,
right,
the best way to help them is just to love them.
Yeah.
And to be
pray
caring and loving and pray for them and show them Jesus in every way we can.
One thing that you said, about guilt and making people happy, I think there's a big difference between wanting to not hurt other people's feelings, wanting to be considerate of their feelings, wanting them to feel loved by you, and guilt, feeling guilty when they don't. But if you're always feeling like you are never enough, you're never making them happy, and I don't want to say making them happy like you're trying to, but they're not happy based on your feelings, like you're always doing the wrong thing, at some point you need to say, okay, this isn't anymore about me having a good relationship with this person. It is now about them needing something that I can't provide. Yeah. Like, that's when you let it go. Yeah. So there is a line in there, because I think in a day-to-day basis, we can't just say, oh, I don't care what anyone feels. Like, you can't just walk through life not caring what people feel. Like, that's the absolute opposite extreme. But there's got to be a healthy determination.
Yeah, and I think, so much in what you just said. I think, number one, between you and your spouse, like, you just have to be going for the communication and working on it, no matter which side you're on of it. You have to be working on that communication. You have to be pulling Jesus down into the middle of your marriage. It's that whole triangle thing. If he's not in the middle pulling us up, the devil will just slide right down to the devil on our own. So we need to keep him in there to keep working on that and keep the communication up. If it is our child and they are a minor, I'll say that for lack of better terms, if they are still in our house and we have a control of any sort of that, we need to do everything we can to be working on that relationship, working through it, whether it be communication with one another, whether you need to do counseling, whatever it is, you need to be active on that. Once that child is of age and gone somewhere, we cannot bear all of the burdens of them. We cannot take the guilt for everything they do.
Well, they become adults.
Back to us. Same thing with our parents. Once we get out of the house, we cannot make them happy. We cannot.
And a lot
be
of that is that
sorry
grief.
that we're not
they,
there.
they're-
Because
they might be
haven't grieved the
grieving
thing
an old
or
relationship
anything
with us.
of the sort.
Yeah.
We don't
There's
get
so
to,
many nuances.
There
you just
are.
can't
We
go
don't-
into all of it.
We don't get to pick our family. We do get to pick those that we have around us constantly. That's why the circles are so important today. I was reading Proverbs, and it talked about people of wisdom that have wisdom breeds wisdom. Have those people wisdom in your life. Those people that you choose to do life with. Those
do
people that are
community
in
with.
that inner circle. Looks like Jesus. Jesus had tons of people following him, thousands of people following him. He had his close 3, and then it went out from there 12, and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
but
that's
those were the people who we get to choose who speaks into us. We don't get to choose who speaks to us. There's a lot of people that speak to us, but the ones who speak into us, the ones who that we decide, okay, I'm going to listen. And I mean, we listen to what people say too. I listen to what people say every day. Doesn't mean I listen to what they say. It doesn't speak to my heart and my soul. Those people we do get to choose. Sometimes it's our family. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not.
You know, a
We
great
need to
place
set those boundaries.
where community happens?
Life groups.
And our retreats.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So fun fact, and maybe we dive deeper into guilt as part of our breakout for this next retreat. But it's going to happen
September.
in September, and we're going back to the Adirondacks.
And we're taking friends this time.
It's going to be a great adventuresome retreat the weekend of September 14th.
September
So,
12th through 14th.
yes,
We're
12th to the
headed
14th.
up to the Adirondacks. So if you're here in Western New York, it's about 5.5 hours or so.
And if you're not,
If you're not,
Google,
it's
like, map
fly
it
into
or
Albany
something.
or drive. Once you get
but
to Albany,
if
head
you want to
north.
join us, message us.
Yeah, message us, Kevin at marriageandthebuff.com. If you go on marriageandthebuff.com, you will see there's links there talking about it and everything. We got room for more, and we can always get a bigger place and have more people.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
We're going to cap it at some point.
The Adirondacks are absolutely beautiful. If you've
Yes.
never been there, it is unlike
It'll be a fun
any
it'll be
other
a fun
part
weekend.
of New York. You feel like you're like in Colorado or
And
Montana.
we'll work on our
or-
marriage.
There's big peaks. There's lots of water. There's animals. There's a different pace, and it's a great place to just come together to reset and
Find
to,
solitude and solitude as a couple. Yeah, really
to
good.
reset, and it's the holidays aren't too far after that. We're going to do one more before the holidays.
Yep.
But it's as we think, the summer's over, busyness, kids are. Listen,
It's a good time to
and
reset.
honestly, that September time frame, October, November, you got December, you're just kind of
But
climbing
September
that
is
mountain
almost
of
like a new
stuff.
year, right?
It is. It's like you just get to breathe for just a minute. You're coming out of all the
you've got
busyness of
your
summer,
routine start back up.
and then you're starting to build into holidays and stuff. And if you're in Western New York, winter is coming,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's just so much that it's a great time. It really, really is a great time, and you get to hang out with us in the Adirondacks for a few days and have fun and eat and, like you said,
Fellowship,
the
community.
fellowship
Yep.
piece of it, the community piece of it. You are going to just make bonds that hopefully last forever.
Yep.
So
have a great week, guys.
have a great week. We have we might do a couple more short ones this week, but on Friday we have our friends who are going to join us on the podcast and
Tell their
talking
story
about a crazy, incredible story of just
God
and how we
and their couples.
we have personally seen it
Yeah, awesome.
in amazing ways in this last year. So, like the podcast, share the podcast. If you got any questions, reach out, Kevin at marriageandthebuff.com. If not, have a great week, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.